Well, that's the Sherman tank coming at you again. I got Skylar or Skydog on here with me tonight. I figured it'd come on a little bit and discuss some stuff. My intro didn't have any sound that time, so I'm not sure what the hell caused that. Just some weird stuff going on. Skydog is trying to get his camera set up.
Yeah, I'm having all kinds of problems.
And the phone fell again. He just replaced his phone and knocking it down, and everything else. So
yeah, guys, this was impromptu, so
hopefully, I'm still working out bugs and stuff with this system. So I don't know what the hell the deal was. I don't know why the intro didn't kick in that time. The video played, but there was no sound with it. So we'll have to play around with it and figure out exactly what the hell's going on. But anyway, you've got a new group building right now, and most of the people that are in your group came from 3% Security Force. How many members you guys got now?
We're right at 200 members.
Okay. Now, how many members did 3% Security Force have total? Do you know?
Yeah, it was. Well, I'm not going to divulge how many members an old organization had.
Okay.
That ain't right. It's against the OPSEC. We ended up with about 97% of the security force members. There's only one chapter left of security force, and that is Bill Hartwell, K2. He kept the security force name. There's no hard feelings there with Bill. He does a kick-ass job. He's a hell of a patriot. And it's my understanding that Chris handed K2 the reins.
Okay. So nothing. I was just looking at my Facebook to make sure everything was working smoothly. It looks like it's going good. So echo. Hold on a second. For some reason we have an echo.
I'm not hearing an echo on my end, but it is lagged. I've never used this setup before. I gotta find something to sit this phone on.
Hopefully that took care of the echo. You're echoing, and your guest does not seem to be echoing, but it looks like you know what's up.
When all else fails, grab your ammo can.
Hey guys, on the video, am I still echoing? Trying to see if we're still. Echo is only on Tank's side. Test. Okay, I'm gonna have to test it after you get everything settled down, so there's not a lot of noise in the background. For some reason, we got some echoes and some other stuff that I gotta test out.
I had no plans on going live tonight. There we go. I finally got it. Had to bring my ammo can out. I don't know what I just did. No. Yeah, I can't find the button to flip it back. Hey, he can be taught.
How about now? Can you guys hear me now? It says now we can't hear Tank. Okay. So how about now? I'm trying to see if they can hear me now. There's so many different things on this freaking setup, and it's like I have to make a checklist of on everything I have to check to get it right. Once it's right, it's good, but it's just real touchy. Yay, we can hear me. Good to go. Okay.
Now, is this streaming on
It's
Facebook
streaming
as well?
on Facebook, Periscope, and YouTube.
Okay, am I tagged on the one on Facebook or no?
No, but I can do that real quick. Hold on a second here. Let's see here.
You caught me right before I was going to bed. I seen your post. Anybody want to go live? I'll go live with Sherman.
Trying to see. Edit this. Oh, come on. It may not let me tag you because we are live on it, so I may not be able to edit anything until we're done. But once we're done,
that's fine.
Don't worry about it. So anyway, you guys are planning on still doing the November 9th thing, correct?
Yes, sir. Mike Rage took it over. Outstanding patriot. He doesn't belong to a group. We tweaked a few things. We changed the way that roll call was heading. It's now Patriot Party on the Potomac. We're still planning on doing the redress of grievances. It's a 2A rally on the Virginia side. Myself and 9 other patriots will be touring the White House on November 8th. We will be handing over our redress of grievances then inside the White House. And then on the 9th, we're going to have a petition-style redress of grievance that we're going to send a select few, those patriots that show up that aren't there to cause a scene or riffraff, will disarm themselves and march the petition style into D.C. So technically, the redress of grievance is already going to be delivered on the 8th, but we're going to do the petition style just, for everybody that come out on the 9th.
Now, do you guys have anything on the redress of grievances? Do you guys have any particular, basically, do you have any particular thing that you are, what's the word I want to use? Anything in particular that you're going to push harder than anything else? I would say.
No, it's all everything in the redress of grievance. What we did, what Mike Rage, his wife, and several other patriots have done. This hasn't been a one-man show. They took the original redress of grievances from the Declaration of Independence.
Good.
And they pretty much replaced king with government. It's all the same. Every bit of it. It all goes back to the Constitution. That them God-given rights that were granted with the Constitution. So they've done that, but we've added on red flag laws. They are being added in there, and we're pushing for those as well. Pretty much this is a formal, peaceful way for us to set the bar, and nobody's ever done it before. So
no one.
That's our gist. This is the first step.
I know that people have done it in front of the governor's mansions, and they've done it in front of the capitals, but they've never done it in Washington. So hats off to you guys that are close enough to be able to go do that. The reason I was asking if there was one that you wanted to pinpoint harder than the rest of them is because with the red flag laws and everything, that's one that I think really needs to be hammered home, because for one, it's going to end up doing two things. For one, it's going to turn law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight. Two, if Trump continues to push it, he's not going to be elected. I mean, when you have half of your electorate that votes for you, that will not vote for you because you have just basically turned them into criminals, you're not going to win the election. And I mean, he has to know that. I would assume that he knows that. He's not a stupid person, but it never hurts for the for the citizens that he governs to remind him of that.
Yes, sir. And it comes down to, okay, probably 75% of Trump voters out there in this country will blindly vote for him again. But the 25% that put him over the edge to win 4 years ago won't vote for him. A lot of patriots in this country aren't going to blindly follow a man. And I'm not saying that anybody per se follows him blindly, but he has done a lot of things that he shouldn't have done with the stance that he had when we voted him in. He was pro 2A. He made it clear that it wouldn't be infringed upon, but yet here he is, openly backing red flag laws. The bump stock ban, which I'm not going to get into bump stock ban. Yeah, it's an accessory, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to argue over that, but I hope he realizes what he's doing. Everybody says, "Oh, he's a chess player. This is all part of the game." But we'll see. But Americans and patriots across the nation are going to stand and do what's right for our country, regardless. I am a Trump supporter. And if he backs off the Second Amendment, I'd probably vote for him again. But we'll see.
That's the one thing that we continue to keep seeing is we keep continuing to see mass shooters, and we keep seeing all this kind of crap. There was just something that happened in Texas yesterday, I think.
They're no different.
And the thing is I think most of the patriots that are out there, most of the people out there that are gun loving, American loving patriots, we know that kind of stuff isn't going to stop. We know that there's nothing out there that's going to stop it. And if anything, before the next election, it's going to ramp up. It's going to get worse. And I mean, with the rhetoric and everything that's going on with the left and the politicians on that side, they continue to keep seeking people to basically do this kind of stuff because it gives them some kind of an up or an in to the people who don't like weapons. So there's a site, and the reason I bring this up, there's a site, or it's a Facebook page called, I think it's AR-15 Builders, I think is the name of it. Dude, I'm telling you right now, I have never seen so many liberal, just turds, I guess is the best way to put it, in a gun form than I have in the last 2 days. I've been kind of following it, and it's absolutely ridiculous to see the fact that the moderators have let some of these idiots in, and they don't put a stop to the arguments. And it's pretty damn sad. And the worst part about it, Skylar, and you're military, you're ex-military, so you get it. But there's a lot of ex-military members that are speaking out and speaking up for red flag laws, and that shit is very, very disturbing.
Yes, sir. And the first people they're going to round up is, I'll hate me for saying it if you want, but it's going to be veterans. It's going to be those veterans that, come back, struggled to adjust, got diagnosed with PTSD. They're taking an antidepressant. They function. They do their day-to-day tasks like they're supposed to. They're not out here harming anybody, and they have no intentions on ever harming anybody. But because they're on an antidepressant, they've seen war, they're diagnosed with PTSD, they're going to be the first ones that they red flag.
Well, they've already, this just happened. It's been a couple days ago, but they've already hammered. There was a guy up in Oregon that had come out and said that, if he had to go up against Antifa, he would basically slaughter them. Maybe his terminology could have been a little bit softer, but at the same time, it's freedom of speech. You should be able to say whatever the hell you want without any kind of government intervention. And, words are not action.
Exactly. And that's like, on the other spin of that, how many rallies I've been to where Antifa, is screaming death to fascists or death to Nazis. They do the exact same thing, but they don't get any repercussions. Now, I will go on record right here and I'll say this. Antifa and Black Lives Matter have their First Amendment right. They can assemble, they can stand, they can protest, they can say and do what they want, as long as they're not causing physical bodily harm or damage to property or anything like that. They have the same rights we do to assemble. So do I hate Antifa? No, I don't. The ones that come out and peacefully assemble, if I've ever seen any that peacefully assemble, which I really haven't.
Yeah, me neither.
They come out and they destroy shit. Patriots get together, they come out, we wave the American flag, we carry our arms safely. You don't see patriots going out tearing shit up. But every time there's an Antifa rally, somebody's getting beat up, there's blood, they're beating on old people, and it's ridiculous. Why has our country leadership labeled them a domestic terrorist organization?
If you were to look back on stuff back in the 80s, the 70s, 80s, stuff like that, times like that, the amount of fist fighting that was done in high school, middle school, elementary school, if you were to step back 20 years in time, 10 years in time, whatever it is, whenever somebody had a problem with somebody, you took it outside on the playground, you beat the crap out of each other, you went home. Dude, I literally had a guy that came to my house when I was in, I don't know, I think middle school, came to my house looking for a fight. You know what my mom did? She invited the guy in. We had it out on the living room floor. That's literally, the mentality that we had back then. And you know what? As soon as it was over and done with, that was the end of the fight. It didn't go any further than that. No one had any weapons. You basically beat the living shit out of each other, and everybody went, along their separate ways. It was pretty much understood that if you had a problem with someone, you could pound it out with each other, and you were done. And that's what happened. And nowadays, if you were to do that right now, you would be locked up in jail. It would be assault, what have you. But nowadays, nobody walks around empty-handed. It's not just a fist fight. Now it's, someone gets hit in the face, a knife comes out, or a gun comes out, or even if it gets that far, it may end up being a gun pulled first. Who knows? But the mentality of today's people have changed drastically. And, I could agree with it, to be honest with you, and you're going to laugh whenever I say this and probably be pissed. I agree with red flag laws as long as it was only the liberals, because they cannot handle their emotions. I don't like red flag laws, period. But if they're going to institute them, it needs to be on that side. 90% of the shootings that are going around the country right now are liberals. I mean, if you look at their background, if you look up their Facebook pages, if they're still up, there's direct evidence that these people had an issue with Trump, or had an issue with conservatism, or couldn't handle capitalism, and they want socialism or communism. So that's what they did. They went out there, and what they're doing, they're mobilizing the left to where they go out there and help push socialism across to the entire country. And that's how they're going to end up getting things banned. They will go further. And this is the one thing that I want to talk to conservatives about. The left is willing to go far enough to push us that direction. The conservative side isn't willing, at least most of us. And when I say us, I don't mean me or you, but the conservative side is always stagnant. We're always the last ones to do anything. And, we're not willing to go up and risk our jobs. We're not willing to go up and risk going to jail. The left doesn't care. They will. It's pretty evident. I mean, you go to Antifa, you go to a rally where there's Antifa, guess what? They have lawyers walking around ready to bail them out, ready to represent them. We don't have that on our side.
Yes, sir. And you're onto something. I didn't laugh, and I'm not mad at your statement at all. You're right. There are people in this country that should not have weapons. However, there's a right way to go about that. You can't just show up at their house, take their weapons, strip them of their due process, and take their weapons. You need to show up, issue them a summons to come to court, not touch their weapons. Once they've had their day in court, if there's proof and evidence that they are unfit to own weapons, then at that point in time, I would agree with seizing somebody's weapons. If there's hard evidence that they could harm themselves or somebody else. But the red flag law in general, just showing up and taking weapons without due process, that is the most unconstitutional thing I've ever heard in my life. And yes, there are people in this country that should not be allowed to own weapons.
I think right away you take groups like Antifa, Black Lives Matter, those kind of groups, and some, of course, everybody on their side is going to say our kind of groups. You take, those type of groups that are literally willing to go out and beat the crap out of somebody with a bike lock, a chain, throw concrete in people's faces, that kind of stuff right there. Every single one of them need to be identified, and they need all their rights taken away, period. If they're willing to go out there and do that kind of shit, they don't need to be walking around in the streets. If
Yes,
they are allowed to walk around in the streets, there need to be some kind of consequence. Like, yeah, it's legal to kick your ass.
Well, and what I don't get, if it was you or I out doing that kind of thing, they'd have us under the jail.
Yeah, it would be in solitary confinement. You'd never find us.
Yep, that's what I don't get. I don't understand it. Why are these people still out here free roaming, doing the same thing? Like the cuck dude from Portland that beat on the buses. He was out of jail 24 hours later.
And damaged property. I mean, the guy, one of the guys that had that bus, Russell Schultz. Okay, he that was his private property. He had people in it. There was, I think it was an older gentleman that got hit in the head with a crowbar. They broke windows in it. Oh, was it a hammer? That's right, it was a hammer. They broke.
It was a hammer. He actually had wounds on his rib cage from it.
And yet this idiot's out walking around. They did the same thing with Berkeley. We had the guy that got hit with a bike lock, right? His Eric something or other. Anyway, they identified him. 8chan was able to put together who it was. They arrested the guy. They put him into jail. This guy literally hit a guy in the head with a bike lock. Ended up with something like 30 or 40 stitches. I mean, really gashed the guy open. It was the day I was there, and I knew the lady that the EMT that took care of the guy, and I mean, this dude ended up with some serious issues. Could have ended up with a bad concussion. Could have ended up with a skull fracture. I mean, and the guy snuck out of the back of the group, smacked the guy, and then disappeared back in the group. That's the whole point of the black bloc stuff. But they were able to identify him through certain facial features and everything else, and that guy is not in jail right now. But you see guys like Kyle Chapman, right? Base Stickman. That dude's going to be going away for a long time. And to start with, he defended people. He didn't go out looking for a fight. He defended people in the first event that he was at. Now, that kind of ballooned into some antagonistic type stuff where he did some things he probably shouldn't have done. But at the same time, the first offense that he ended up getting in jail or in the courts was him defending other people. And he's going to go up the river just for that.
Well, look at what they're doing with Joey from Patriot Prayer in Oregon, in Portland. They've got him all hemmed up on rioting charges, and all he did was stand on the sidewalk with an American flag.
And he's the one that got hit. He got pepper sprayed. He got hit on. He got spit at. Him, and there was like 3 or 4 other guys. Russell Schultz was one of them too. It's a sad day in America when you can't walk down the streets and defend yourself from attacks like that. Period. That's like walking down New York City and having to defend yourself from a mugger, and then you get thrown in jail for beating his ass. That's no different. It's literally the same thing.
And that's why myself, Bill Hartwell, K2, with Virginia 3% Security Force, a week and a half ago, we all split. 90% of the group, 97%, whatever the percentage is, went our separate ways. We rebranded under ACE, American Constitutional Elite. And here we are working together on November 9th. On the 21st of September, I'm supposed to be going to Virginia to meet with K2. We're going to go do a little bit more recon for November 9th, check out some other areas where we're going to be, just kind of get a layout of choke points where we might have issues keeping counter protesters away from us. We're going to sit down with law enforcement, let them know, hey, this is what we're doing. This is, where we're going to be this time, yada, yada, yada. We want to work with them. We want to keep the peace. Every single patriot that's on that Patriots Party Potomac page, we don't want any issues. We don't want any conflict with counter protesters. they have every right to be there. But if we can't go peacefully assemble, hand over our redress of grievance, and go home, then what's the point? And I think the roll call page got a little too aggressive. Got way too aggressive and was heading down the wrong track. I think we've been able to salvage that. We've got the right people in the nation now heading that up, and I'm hoping for a success. But to see an organization the size that it was, separate, rebrand, and still be able to work together a week and a half later. Wounds are still fresh. People are still upset, but we've hashed all that out. We're done with it. We're moving on. Bill Hartwell is an outstanding leader. He'll do great with Virginia 3% Security Force. I know that for a fact. And the fact that we can all still work, I still consider him a brother. He's still family.
Right.
So, the drama from 3% Security Force that happened, I know it kind of shocked everybody, but at the same time, it really didn't shock anybody. It's been kind of an annual thing for the past 10 years. But we're excited for the future, man. American Constitutional Elites, we've worked really hard adjusting our rank structure, making it work for everybody involved. Checks and balances, that's what it's all about. There's not one leader. It's set up with a council, and it's really coming together. I'm excited for what the future holds.
And that's what it's about. I mean, we're going to have to, figure out. We're going to have to figure out how to work together. That's going to be the key. If people can learn to put their friggin' egos aside and everything else, we're going to end up being, so much better as a whole. And that's the one thing, is we haven't been a whole in a long time, and that divide just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And a lot of that is, if you were to go through and you were to see the different people that are causing that problem, and just kick them out of all the damn groups. If you see somebody that's causing a problem, boot them. Cull it whenever you get a chance. You know what I mean? We got to stop the bleeding somehow, and eventually they're all going to end up being lone wolves, and maybe that's what we need. I mean, you look back at the Revolutionary War. None of the people that were involved in that. You had Washington's army, but all the people that were instrumental in winning that, a lot of them, they didn't have contact daily. They didn't have contact, every chance they got. I mean, it was like very brief. They would pass a note or something like that. So what we've got now is we're too connected. We've got too many options on how to air out our feelings, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And the problem is everybody feels important, and everybody is important, but to a point. I mean, we're all adults. Screw your feelings. Stop with the kindergarten bullshit, and grow up and learn to help instead of hurt. I think that's one of the best things that we could possibly do.
You hit the nail on the head, and I've been saying it for the past 6 months. I've been saying it, and I've been saying it a whole bunch here in the past few weeks. We have, as patriots, we have to hold every single patriot across this country accountable for their own actions. The second we don't, and we haven't. I mean, guys, I'm new to the Patriot movement. I'm new to the 3% movement. I've only been here for 2 years. I don't have near the time invested in this as Sherman Tank does. You've been around what now? 10, 15 years?
Well, I've been doing the Patriot movement and the videos and that kind of stuff for about the last 2.5 to 3. I've been watching it for a lot longer than that. I've been watching it since back whenever, honestly, it's back since Waco happened. That kind of woke me up a little bit to it. And, I didn't really throw my hat into the ring and do the stuff that I'm doing until, go public with everything until about 3-4 years ago. But the reason I did was because obviously we had an election coming up. I felt like we couldn't let the liberals get in there. We could definitely not let Hillary get back in there. That was kind of my line in the sand. Was Hillary? If Hillary won, I knew there was gonna be some serious shit going on.
Yeah, and it all comes back to accountability. Like, I see so many people that can do and say whatever the hell they want, and nobody holds them accountable. You know, if you have a leader that is being I'll even use K2's terms from his video last night, a fart knocker. I think that's Facebook. Okay, we shouldn't get banned for that one. You know, if you have a fart knocker that's not doing what he needs to do, remove it. You know, by all means necessary. You know, and that's not directed towards anybody, guys. I'm not attacking anybody, but there are a lot of egotistical, raging maniacs in this movement that give each and every single one of us a black eye, that tarnish the brand, that tarnish what we're trying to do with. You know, 99.9999% of the patriots in this movement are good-hearted, God-fearing, you know, Christian of some sort that don't want a war, that don't want to harm anybody. We simply want to enforce our Constitution, protect our Constitution, you know, stand with the good law enforcement. Now, are they all good? No, they're not. We have our fart knocker police too. You know, they're everywhere. They're in everything. But if we as Americans hold everybody accountable for every single action they do, including myself, if I do something stupid, hold me accountable. That's where this movement has failed.
Well,
somebody's being stupid.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Somebody's being stupid, and everybody just turns a blind eye. You know, they remove them, but they don't let everybody know, hey, this is what this person is doing. Here's the proof. Here's the facts. In the past 2 weeks, I've had so many people come forward to me talking shit about somebody. For instance, just anybody. And the first thing I say is, okay, where's your proof of wrongdoing? 90% of the time, they can't show me anything. They can't provide any proof at all. Okay, take your accusations and get the hell out of here.
Well,
you're part of the problem.
Coming down to a thing where their feelings got hurt. You know, someone might have you know, differed with an opinion, and you know, conservatives are just as bad as the liberals when it comes to that kind of stuff, if not worse. You know, we may have a different opinion, but you know, grow up and suck it up and live with it. You know, that's someone else's opinion. That's what they believe. Fucking move on. You know, we haven't been able to seem to figure out how to get past that stuff yet. But you know, I look at it like when we got someone that's stirring the pot, causing shit, it becomes a cancer. You got some.
I've got this phone plugged in and it's charging, but it's getting pretty low on the battery thing. If I drop off, my battery dies.
I think we can go ahead and call it quits for the night, man. I got to call somebody back at work. They just called me. So I probably got something going on there I got to take care of. But Skylar, thanks for coming on again.
Sherman, do you care if I let everybody know how they can get a hold of us if they're interested in joining ACE? All right, guys. I'm Major Skydog, ACE Ohio Executive Officer. American Constitutional Elites. If you are interested in joining a family organization, zero drama, zero bullshit. We don't tolerate it at all. You know, we don't have your typical organization where it's one general, one man calling the shots. We have 3 generals that make up the head council, and then we have a council of COs and XOs, and then we have our people. Our people at any time can raise their hand and say, hey, I have an issue with this. At that point in time, it goes to the council. If the council can't remedy that issue and fix it to where that member is pleased with the outcome, then it'll go to the generals, and they will do it on that level. Everything in our organization comes down to a 2/3 vote with our generals or a majority vote with our council. You know, there's not a whole lot of militia organizations out there that work like that. Most of them are one man runs the show. If you're interested in joining and you'd like to learn more, download Zello. It's a walkie-talkie app. Search ACE, all capital, interview with a capital I. That is our interview channel. Again, that's ACE, all capital, interview, capital I. Just jump on there, sound off. We'll ask you a few preliminary questions. Guys, if you're a felon, you belong to another 3% organization, and you have no intention of resigning from that organization, or you belong to a hate group, don't waste our time. That's our only 3 stipulations. You can't be a felon. You have to legally be able to own firearms. We do not allow any dual membership. And of course, you can't belong to any sort of a hate group, such as Black Lives Matter, Antifa, KKK, whatever the case may be. But, and if that's not the case, if you can't figure Zello out, feel free to get a hold of me, Skylar, Skylar, Steward, Steward, as in Delta, on Facebook. Shoot me a message. I'll do anything I can to help you. We've got a lot of up and coming states. We have about 20 states now that are already ratified chapters. Nice. So, new name, new bylaws, new SOPs, but we're running strong. With everything that happened, that kind of thing normally cripples an organization. It didn't do anything but build us up and motivate us to push even stronger.
Good deal, man. Well, Skylar, I'm going to get off here, but thanks again for coming back on. And make sure that, if you're interested in a group, you check out Skylar real quick. You may fit in with them. There's a lot of different groups out there. If you are not in a Patriot group and you believe in the Constitution, whether it's his group, another group, whatever, just get involved. Be ready to do some stuff. Don't just sit on the couch and twiddle your thumbs and play video games. With that said, I'm Sherman Tank. That's Skydog. We are out for the night.
Outstanding. God bless, brother.